So I'm going to take one more word about how you're using your body to support the stick. Is that if I'm very relaxed in my torso, there's a little bit of a tendency for it to wiggle as I'm applying power. And for me, one of the functions of a kihon is to tighten your core. Hey! It's not hey. It's not just letting the air out. It is hey! And there's a glottal stop at the end. Actually, it's not a glottal stop. It's a diaphragm stop. Hey! I'm hardening my diaphragm, locking my rib cage to my hips at that moment. Now, if you do the strike without kihon, then you might also be able to do it correctly, but it's not as easy. The kihon actually supports the striking movement. It's not intended really as a psychological scare tactic. I think it is a biomechanical function that locks your body into one piece, so that when you hit your hammer against that nail, your hammer doesn't have any joints in it. The spinal column has all these wonderful flexible joints and movements it can do, but you don't want that. You don't want a ripple coming into your body or backlash as your body hits into something. You want solid body power. So also in Aikido practice, this is something that they talk about keeping one point. Keeping one point to me feels like I drop my shoulders into my hips and my body sets into one solid slab, vertical slab riding on my hips. So pull the hips under, tighten the stomach in, hips under. That helps your back, helps your structure. And at the beginning, you have to use a lot of muscle to hold your body into one piece. But I think that eventually your tone of your core muscles will do that for you. And also, if you relax with proper posture, you're sitting on that anyway. And if you don't overextend your upper body or any part of your body, if you try to overextend, you can see the first thing that happens, my hips break out. So stay within your box. You know how far you can reach, or you should, or you'll learn. Find out how far you can reach. Don't go outside that. I don't have to hit Dale to keep him from hitting me. I just have to keep him far enough away. So let's say we do, we did a little bit yesterday with, we did Seigan, which has this motion here. And in Seigan, let's just do the kihon version here. Kihon of yakute. So match weapons. If you raise the weapon, I come here, right? Okay. So at this point, I didn't hit him, but right there, he can't cut me. In Seigan, what we were looking at is from this place here. And in Seigan, he's got the sword out to the side. He's just drawn the weapon, and he's got the sword here. So he's going to try to figure out how he can cut me. And right here, he's going to have trouble getting to me. If you try to cut anywhere on my body, he can cut my arm maybe, which in the kata, I withdraw that. But just from right here, if you try to cut my body, come under, it's not going to go. If you have your hands underneath, go ahead and grab the sword, cut my body. He's got longer arms than I do. But from right here, he's not cutting me.
Stretch out.
So yeah. So he's got to pop his hips out maybe and try to lean over, which makes him really easy to knock over. So my point is that you don't have to hit him to make him keep distance. And a lot of times when we do the kihon, paired kihon, and I go like this and he steps back, and I do like this and he comes and we match. That's the paired exercise form. The fact that I didn't hit him, well, we just ate. You know, we don't want to mess ourselves. You know, so it's nice. But if he's far enough away that I can't quite reach him, he's also far enough away that I'm safe. And that's my point. I just don't want him to be able to cut me. So a lot of times what we're going to do with the stick is put him somewhere where he can't cut me. And that's all I'm really worried about. I'm not trying to, unless I, you know, feel like it and I get pissed off, maybe I want to hit him. But the main thing is I want to be safe, and I want the swordsman to understand that he doesn't have any way of getting to me. And that creates a little frustration and despondency. And if I let him know that I can kill him anytime I want and he can't touch me, he's going to quit. He's going to say, this wasn't such a good idea. And that's the end of it. Okay? So that's the last kihon is that background. So anyway, that's a kind of idea about how to use the body, at least how I think of it right now. And maybe next time I'll think of it a little differently. And I'll be sure to bring that and throw that out for experimentation. Okay. Well, why don't we do a couple of things. If you want to work Joe, we could go into some kata. We could do some sword work too. It kind of depends on what you want to do. John?
What if we worked on the, partly because I sort of know them from a decade ago, those first three, I think it was the first three, and then I think we skipped one, the kata.
The kata, okay.
Kata.
Sure.
And
All right.
There's some swords.
Well, that's good. There are, I think we did Tachi Tosh, Seigan, things like that. And those are both in Seite. This one also, the first Seite movement is the third kata of the classical system, so it's a good place to start. I kind of like this kata, and let's go ahead and we'll show it. Hey! Jodo. Yeah, Jodo.
Just letting them feel yourself shooting air balls. Oh my God.
You don't have to be that close. Okay, so there's a lot going on. It's the third kata of Omote, of the beginning set. The first two techniques seem like they go on forever. There's a lot of things happening. This one seems like it's short, okay? But there's a lot going on here also. And I think I'm going to use a theme on this because we were talking about this the other day. You know the different timings in martial arts. And they're called Go-no-sen is reaction. Sen-no-sen is matching. Sen-no-sen is preempting, coming in advance of the attack. So, what's our timing on this? Okay? Well, it's Omote. We're going to start with Go-no-sen. I'm going to wait. Go-no-sen is a very powerful timing. It's not, if we call it late timing, that is maybe a misnomer. So I think of it as being a reactive timing.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
So here. Now, do you see how long I waited? You have to really wait until the sword is at the top of its arc coming forward. If I move now, he could change his cut. Anytime that the sword is rising up, it can change direction. Okay, and that puts me in danger. My evasion may not work. So what I'm going to do is I stand here and I watch him, and I'm not worried, and he's going to come to cut, and as soon as that forward motion commits, I'm out of there. Now I want you to look where I did. I stepped at a backward diagonal. He really can't reach me anyway from where his feet are. So I'm totally unconcerned about that sword right now. So the motion is to step back with the diagonal to the right, and I bend my knees. The reason I bend, I don't know if this is the way you did it, but this gives me the grip of the stick.
Okay.
So I don't go 1, 2, I just go 1. I did something else. I want you to watch the bottom tip of that stick. And do we have a good, let's put it on this dot. That dot is the center of the mat. So this is where Bob Ray likes to throw people. So, he can get on like that. So if I step out of the way and I do this, look where it's pointing. Is there an enemy there? Nah. I've got to move it. So at this point, when I evade, the line changed, and I have to reacquire my target. So Dale-san is going to attack here. Hey.
That's because of how you moved?
Yeah.
Not how
Well,
he-
it's the geometry of this. If this is where that tip is, anywhere I move, he's going to go, come down and put your sword. He's going to put his sword right here. This is where my head is. So his sword's going to be here, right?
Yeah.
Anywhere that I move, the only place I can move that's still on the line from that point is here. And I don't. I step here. If I step here, it's still different. So yeah, I've got to reacquire my target. Okay? Now, there's some different things that could happen here, but the main thing that's going to happen at this point, I reacquire target. Now, lots of different ways to do this. I know about 5. My
Did that
teacher,
drop to that point
Yeah.
with you?
Sure.
When you made your drop, it seemed to drop to that point because of your
Right.
structure.
I'm doing this. I just carry the stick with me a little bit.
Onto your center. You're
Oh yeah.
maintaining all your
Well,
principles.
the line is always defined by this. My center to your center. If I stand over here, then I don't care if you're cutting that way. My line's going to be, this is now the line of engagement. So I'm actually stealing the line from him. I'm stealing the center. I've got center right here. If he's got a really goofy attack, maybe I do that. Okay.
Dale, goofy
So,
attack.
in other words, for you, you started stepping with the sword behind you. Think about, you got long arms, extend and bring the sword to the attack rather than pushing your body into the sword. So, big strike. Yeah, now I got to move. But you notice as my body moved, I carried the stick with me to here. He could be real quick and lift the stick up. Maybe I come up with him so that as he raises the stick, I can do this. Okay, I can hit him in the center, hit him in the eyes. But the kata version is 1, 2. So the version I've learned is, if you look at where my belly is pointing, it's a little bit over here. If I, from here, lift the stick straight up, I might catch that sword and get blocked. I don't like that. I'm going to go around, but it's not a circle. It's, I just lift here and bring the stick. If you slide your hand up slightly toward the ceiling, it whips the tip of the stick vertically. Now, vertical is a universal. I can now bring it straight down. And if you notice what happens here, it's attacking through his eyes to his
Down the
wrist.
center.
Yeah. So Hey! Now, funny, I don't know if you know Tokyo, but there's called the Yamanote-line, is the subway that goes all the way around Tokyo. It's a big circle. And Sensei says sometimes Yamanote-line. Here. So it looks like a circle, but if you think about it, it's more like the letter D. Once I have acquired
It's not a line.
this center,
You're not just bringing a line up. There is a curve in it. There is a bit of a curve.
I'm getting off of it, and this is natural to me because of how my body is lined. So I'm not really taking it off the line here. I've seen years ago, Kendo Federation used to do a big strike behind and cut like it was a shinai, which is nice. It's really, really strong, but it kind of takes forever. So every kata, and what defines a kata is that it has riai. It has a combative reasoning and timing, and that's accurate. You know, we were working on something the other day where he would come to cut, and I come here, and at this point, we've gotten kind of used to the sword pushing on the end of the stick. And then I have to power through it. The instant that happens, the kata's gone. Because nobody with a sword, no decent swordsman, is going to push on you with the handle of the sword, with the tsuka. They're going to get off of it and try to cut you again. So the riai of the kata would be that I do this, and then as he raises the sword, I follow him. It looks the same, but in essence, it's totally different.
You're following it.
Yeah, it's a following, it's a
bumping.
Go-no-sen type of motion. It's just barely Go-no-sen.
When I teach shomanate to beginners, I talk about the arm coming up.
Yeah. Sure.
And that's kind of what I was seeing from them.
You're weaponizing the arm first, because down here it's not a weapon.
But you're not doing anything like this. You know, it's not this.
In that kata, that's the proper idea. Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm seeing there. But
Yeah,
I think you're saying it's going, there is a bit of a,
You have to get the stick clear.
You gotta get it around the sword.
And also, if you think about this, I have to acquire the stick with my body. So from this place here, this is where my body is going to be strong.
that's what's to that. You're
Yeah.
offline and it's coming fairly
So
straight.
yeah, so this up and down right here, it doesn't give you a clean line of attack. Okay.
Can I go look at it from over there?
Sure. We got a lot of room. Let's go. Hey.
It's like almost a little loop,
Now it's pretty quick.
like a little loop at the bottom.
Yeah. Like I said, it's kind of like drawing the letter D. But really not. For me, it feels like I'm bringing it up. From this point, zut, it kind of does a little bit of a curve here.
It's almost a little J.
Yeah, a little bit of a J, and then it's vertical, and then I'm attacking right through the body. And I would have to say, be really careful and go slow with your partners, because it's very different and it's very threatening. If you have people that are used to doing, and the way I was taught, the way you probably taught, was a very, very small motion here,
Yeah.
and touch him right there, and all this. And that's a good, reasonable motion. In this kata, the way I've been taught, you really want to dominate the other person. This is semi. This is attacking it. Here. Now the second point is, once I've got his wrist, I've got to make a wall here. Okay? If he just raises the sword straight up and this happens because he kicks my stick out of the way, think about, let's go back to the attack, and I want you to just cut, and then raise the sword and cut again. Now, I hit him on the wrist and he went right through it. Also, if you notice the timing of that, I hit him on the wrist as his wrist was rising. And I hit him with my arms. Okay? But I want to lock down my body. Now, hold your arms out like you have a sword. Now, if I do... Yeah, you're fine. But if I do this, just pull your hand back. I got a problem. Okay? If I'm really light and you just lift the sword up, but just lift both hands up. Now cut me.
Doesn't stop the cut.
Doesn't stop the cut. But when I do this, now I'm not pushing.
It's like unbendable arm.
It's like unbendable arm. All I've done is set my body here. I made a wall. And at this point, and it should be on your center, at this point, the swordsman is going to feel like, if I want to cut, I got to do something. And in this case, he steps back. So
It's the only way out.
now we're doing a short kata, and we're going to take a half hour explaining it. But
Your wife had something to say about that.
she did. So I'm going to shut up in about, I think I got another 12 minutes. Hey! So right here, are your wrists okay? Right here, I just want to make sure he can't lift that sword. Okay, so at this point he's going to think, maybe I ought to take a step back. Hey! So what happened in that third of a second was I did a couple things. If you draw the stick back, then what happens is I've just eliminated my attack. I took the pressure off of him. But I want you to watch my front hand. I did two things. Instead of pulling the stick back, look where it went. It went 2 feet behind me. If I do that, it only goes maybe 6 inches back. I just spread my arms. The front hand is actually attacking his eyes. I'm acquiring target again. Maybe I just pop him in the eye. Okay? The second thing that happens is when I do the strike, my timing of strike, and this is all honte-uchi. Let's do this. I'm going to do it the way I was originally taught. Here, and go ahead and cut. I have a problem. What happens if I do, the way I'm doing it now is, go ahead and cut a little bit earlier. Don't just stand there. Now, I didn't get my step.
It's one fluid.
But that's okay, because I had the stick in front of me. Well,
There's a wedge that I ran into.
yeah, you ran into a wedge. And the way that's happening is I've done each knee, san, shi. Okay?
Okay.
As opposed to san, shi.
Okay.
If I use my step to lift the stick, I've retarded the stick. There's no reason to retard the stick. I want the stick in front of me. So from this place, I draw, and notice that I have started my step. My step's going to fall on it. If I come back and wait for my step to go,
This is the old way.
that's the way I used to do it, and I think it requires the swordsman to back up and not attack. For me, anyway, I found that if the swordsman is very aggressive and is really trying to attack, you might walk into the sword. So, really, my foot and my hand start at the same time. See that? They're starting at the same time. But my hands are a lot faster. I don't need my body power to lift the stick. I can do this pretty
It's
easily.
there by the time your body comes through.
The stick they start at the same time, but it takes so much less time to get the stick in front of you. And then when my strike happens,
Very powerful.
I've got the stick in front of me rather than waiting until the end of my step for the stick to get there. If I do this timing, you see the stick didn't actually become a weapon until the last moment. One of my seniors says that you have to weaponize the stick. It's like when you do Yamanote and this hand is not a weapon, now it is. So when I do this with the stick, maybe a little exaggeration, but that's the idea of the timing on it. So we'll do it one time, and I've got 13 seconds to talk before we have to work, and then we'll play with it. 8! 8! A little close here.
Is that a product of my step getting back?
That was a
you know,
product
big enough?
of me showing off, probably trying to do more than I got outside of my box a little bit. Hey! Hey! And that's a terrible example, and I can feel it. And you know why? I'm maybe a little too aggressive here because I'm trying to show that, and I'm ending up doing a strike that feels like that. So this should be a bigger strike. Let's slow it down a little bit and squeeze some of the adrenaline out. Hey! Hey! A little bit better. And this is an omote, a beginning. Omote means the surface. The top of a mat is called the omote. And so the surface level is you're learning hante and yakute and learning your strikes and how you can do things. And it's not meant to be done as a just wild-ass fight. You can. But let's practice tsukizue together, okay? So, John, would you work with Dale? Son? Go ahead, Mike. He steps back. Yeah. All right. Hey, tsukizue. Oi. I hadn't attacked yet. So remember, and we were discussing timing, but I can't talk anymore. We're supposed to practice now. We'll talk about timing again in a second. Hey, one hand. Eight. Now, a little bit more. So if I want you to feel this. If I am standing right here and this is the center line, get off. You want to clear that space. Let's say you screw up and you're on the move and I catch your shoulder. That's bad. All right? Put more out in front. Okay.
This is
And
still
then up.
hot in the face.
Up, 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 and strike him here. And the strike is going to be across the wrist and just touching. Just, yeah, straighten both arms a little bit. Straight. There you go. Bend your front knee a little bit. Okay? Now, you feel how I can just lift this up and come after you? So, this is what I'm talking about right here. Get your hands on top. Exhale and sink your body weight into the tip of the stick. See how it's coming? This is loose. A little bit more power here. Both hand power. That's a little bit. Yeah. See now I'm interrupted. I can't just do that. Okay. Drop that shoulder in there. There you go. Remember, power is coming from there. So you want to drop that koshi on my wrist. There you go. Now, step back and draw towards my eyes.
This
Yeah.
foot back?
No, you don't move your feet now. Just draw the stick back. And stick this hand forward and then draw back with the other hand.
That's what you're talking about.
Yeah. So you're here. You want to have the See, when you do this, watch. Watch, watch, watch.
Okay. So here I was, and here I am.
And what I'm going to do from here is I'm stepping back to get my sword up. So you've aimed at my eyes. Big strike, catch me on the wrist with a step. Step ayumiash across the body. Ah. Now you push towards my eyes and stop right there. And I'm going to lower, keep it on the eyes, lower the weapon. And you are, and to do the put away is draw straight back. Put the front hand on the top of your thigh.
Like this.
Yes. Watch, watch, watch. Here. Then open up, you've done the hand. Now rotate that, put it right straight into my center.
This?
Here, watch. 1, 2, 3. So you got that on the center, on my center. And you step up, feet together. And I step back, feet together. Keep that pointed at me. You can get the other hand off. Let the other hand go. But you got this pointed at me because I might do something crazy. Don't worry about the sword. Worry about me. If I come into you and raise a sword, I want you to hit me in the eye.
Yeah.
That's the real
I got it.
center of Joe is you got a target right there. It's on a line.
I was watching
Actually,
the video. I went,
you're over
"Oh, geez,
here,
He just killed him.
right here.
Yeah.
So, and then I'm going to step back a couple of steps. All right, let's do it again.